YouTube just released their new policies for firearms channels, and I'm pretty ticked about it. They made an update at the very end of October, start of November, and then there was another one in September. And so we're going to talk about both of those and the ways that they've changed things. You guys are going to get a good laugh out of some of these because it's just pretty obvious that they do not understand guns. Like, this was written by somebody in an office in San Francisco who maybe talked with Nancy Pelosi to try to understand guns. But the other thing is, we need to take this seriously as a community and try to get some attention to this video from YouTube, because this can't go on or it's absolutely going to destroy the gun community here. Hey, before we begin, you probably noticed that my face looks like I got in a fight with a vine bush. Actually, just watching these videos, I noticed there were two kind of weird spots on my face, and so I got a family. I thought I better go to a dermatologist, make sure I'm okay. Anyway, I'm fine, but he had to zap a bunch of stuff, so just ignore it. All right, let's jump into the content. So one of the rules is that on YouTube, you can't show content featuring large capacity magazines. That one is really, really frustrating, this large capacity magazine, which they're defining as 30 rounds or more. It's perfectly legal to do that in almost all states. And so when they're doing things like this, it really is making YouTube look like propaganda more than actually trying to protect people. There was one good change to the rules. They defined what a controlled environment means. So this is one that actually cost me money because of YouTube's carelessness. In the September update, I went to update a video and all of a sudden the rule had changed, and they said that you can't show guns in an uncontrolled environment. So it said you can show guns on a dedicated gun range that's a controlled environment, and you can't show them on a sidewalk shooting like in a neighborhood. Well, duh, that's just illegal. They should just say any illegal use of a firearm, right? The way it was worded before made it very clear. I can't just go into the desert and shoot like I do virtually every day. It said it had to be a controlled environment. It said the only time you can shoot just out in the desert away from people is if you are actively in the pursuit of hunting. That's the only time you can do it. But you can't just go shoot out in the desert. And so I went and bought a membership to a gun range, and then now they've changed that rule back that you can shoot out in the desert as long as it's a safe environment without, people like shooting in a neighborhood and stuff. Probably the most frustrating phrase that they have in the rules is the word promotions. So what it says is promotions of the sale of a firearm or component, including but not limited to, but not limited to. So we're just like, yeah, basically I'm not going to define everything, so just don't do anything that's in my head. I'm not going to bother saying it. Okay, so they have their list here. One of them is ammunition clips, which everybody who is in gun culture just went, oh gosh. Like, you guys, this makes it so obvious that YouTube did not even bother to consult with somebody that has firearms knowledge, because everybody watching this video just went, oh gosh. They probably mean magazines here, right? Maybe clips too, but they probably mean magazines. It's just something that if you're talking to the gun community, you need to know what you're talking about. You can't just throw stuff around and look so uneducated to us if you want us in your community. Silencers. So in another part of the rules, it says you can have content that features silencers, but here it says you can't promote the sale of it. So that's tricky for me as a YouTuber. I would say more than half of all gun videos on YouTube are some type of review or talking about the gear. And so they did say in a spot that reviews are okay. But if I give something a very positive review and say, man, you guys should pick one of these up, it's awesome. So now am I promoting it? Like, that's a really fine line between general promotion and giving a positive review, which in essence will promote something, right? And so I really don't like that. If you're saying I can't give discount codes and I can't link directly to those sites, well, tell us what that means by promotion, because that word promotion could be used vaguely to cut out half of the gun videos on YouTube. The next one is ammunition belts. Like they're picturing Rambo walking around with a bandolier of ammo. Like, come on, who's posting that on YouTube anyway, right? Or do you mean like a concealed carry belt that's just a thick leather belt that would be suitable for carrying a heavy gun? That's a pretty benign item to be banning here. It's just, what is that? Like, did they even think through what they actually need to stop or for public safety? Or are they just listing random stuff that they think gun people could be talking about? An interesting one here is scopes. So Walmart sells scopes. Amazon.com sells scopes. Scopes? We're worried about scopes? It's just, so now I did my video of the best scopes under $500. And in the end, I made my recommendation of what the best scope under $500 was. I think it's valuable content. I'm talking about a product that's so common it's in Walmart. You know, these are rifle scopes. And so now I'm left scratching my head. Well, did I promote the sale of it? If I make a link to Amazon, is that promoting the sale of it? Is just providing a review and saying which is the best? Is that? Because when you talk about guns, it has a specific rule that you can't talk about the best gun manufacturers. So now if I'm making a review of a Tikka T3X, I can't compare that to the Ruger American. Sorry. Now we're talking about which manufacturer is best. So what kind of review is that if you can't even compare it to what else is out there? It's vague language. This one is brand new and it's silly. Again, this is people who don't understand guns. Content showing guns modified with bump stocks or hair triggers. Here it is. Thermal night vision or infrared sights. See, this is again, you showed that you're a noob. Night vision is the general category. And thermal and infrared are two different technologies for providing night vision. So what this should actually say is thermal or infrared night vision. But they didn't really understand what it is they were even outlawing. Now what they're picturing is Navy SEALs walking around with nods doing tactical dangerous stuff, right? You guys, this is extremely common. You can buy this on Walmart. You can buy this at Amazon. People are using this for hog hunting and coyote hunting. I personally have a few videos where I've talked about hunting at night. Basically, this means no hog hunting content, period, on YouTube, because mostly it's done at night. And so, yeah, your content is going to show that it has, you know, thermal or infrared sights. And I've done that with multiple videos in the past. You guys, I've been a full-time content creator for over a decade now on different channels. And so how the heck am I supposed to remember every video I've ever made that violates this policy? And there's no compliance period. There's no grace period for what you've done in the past. Suddenly, you need to go remember every video you've ever made that may have had a night vision sight in it and get rid of it, or there goes your income. There goes your livelihood. So those are some things that are fairly new. There are a lot of things that just still sucks that YouTube really does need to clean up. One is referring users directly to a site that facilitates gun sales. So now if you have a ranching or a horsemanship channel and you link to calranch.com, even if you're linking to cowboy boots, oh no, your channel can get banned, my friend. That's because they also facilitate gun sales on Cal Ranch. You also can't link to Academy or Cabela's or Sportsman's Warehouse or many dozens of other sites that are very common stores in just about every city, huge big box brands. You can't link to those, even if you're not linking to a gun. Even if I'm linking to something very benign, sling, you can't link to that site. One that has been supremely frustrating for me and other creators that I've talked to is you provide instructions on manufacturing ammunition. So this is another one where it's just obvious that they didn't talk to anyone in the gun community, because that phrase manufacturing ammunition can mean a few different things. Do you mean like commercial manufacturing facilities. Like, who in commercial manufacturing of ammunition is like, you know what, I'm going to set up a warehouse, I better YouTube this. That's silly. That's not something you really even need to protect yourself against. Or do you just mean reloading? If we're talking about reloading, we should use that term here, because otherwise, how are we supposed to know? Because manufacturing definitely has a commercial connotation, like you got to get your FFL license, but it just doesn't say. And so it leaves me as a content creator saying like, so should the entire Ultimate Reloader channel be banned? Or am I cool to give a Reloading 101 video here? I don't know, because they didn't make it clear. Two that are just extremely limiting are about live streams. You can't touch a firearm during a live stream, and you can't travel with a firearm in the car and do a live stream. So if I'm driving to the gun range, somebody else is driving, I'm in shotgun, and I just want to do a live stream while my rifle's locked up in the bed of my truck, well, no, that violates the policy, right? It's silly, right? I think what they're trying to protect themselves is somebody who's brandishing a firearm, walking around with it. It's obvious something bad's going to happen in this video, and they want to live stream it, right? So let's talk about brandishing a firearm, or threatening with a firearm, or traveling to do anything illegal with a firearm. But when you just make it that broad, 99.99999% of what you're doing is only disallowing videos that are completely benign and totally legal, just sportsmen. Then it says, please remember these are just examples, and don't post content if you think it might violate this policy. So first of all, we need to talk about grammar here. What this sentence should say is, please remember these are just examples, period. Don't post content if you think it might violate this policy. This is one where it just made it obvious that they haven't even given care to write good rules here, because I personally found 5 grammatical errors just on this page. Google usually puts things that are buttoned up. They hyphenated gun parts. Well, you actually don't hyphenate that, because the two words functioning together do not precede a noun. And so it shouldn't go there. Same thing as gun grips. It shouldn't go there. There are plenty of grammatical errors on this page that just show that they haven't exercised care. We got to talk about the double standard on YouTube as well. Now, personally, I should be very clear. I think everything Demolition Ranch has ever posted should totally be allowed on YouTube, plus a lot of stuff that isn't allowed. I totally think it should be. I think the rules are silly. But when Demolition Ranch can make a video saying, hey, I'm going to this gun store on Saturday and our goal is to sell out the whole gun store, and I'm going to be there on YouTube showing me selling a gun, well, that's so obviously violating the policies here of, directly promoting the sale of a gun, of linking to to a gun store, and also to recommending a gun store. It violates 3 policies at least.
We got Batty here. The rest of the gang's not here yet because they're all sleeping in, but Donut will be here soon. Drew said he went to get some tacos. Oh, heck yeah. I was wondering what we were doing about lunch, but maybe we're going to be sold out by then.
Maybe. We'll see.
We already got a crowd outside. We haven't opened the doors yet. All right, so Mason, can you walk us through, kind of give us like a little tour of what you got in here?
So you're going to walk in here. You'll be selling the guns, Batty or whoever. We got everything separated, gloved.
And yet they make that content no problem. Sales through every time. If in one video, somebody on this channel unscrewed a grip on the side of a handgun and screwed in a new grip, all it does is change the traction on the handle. Like, it has nothing to do with the interior of the gun. It just is a grip. Demonetize that sucker immediately. I did a video that's just a very academic video talking about the different gun manufacturers and what you can kind of expect from all of them. Demonetized immediately. But there's a total different standard. If you're Demolition Ranch, you can do whatever you want because they're afraid of the audience that he has. Again, I'm not saying that because I think we should go after Demolition Ranch. What I am saying is, if you allow it for one, you need to allow it for everybody. So dear YouTube, my career for the last decade has been a content creator. I have sent millions and millions of people to YouTube. I am who you want to make the platform grow. You want this gun community. It's like half of all Americans, right? This is a good community I have. We are law-abiding citizens. We don't want to promote dangerous content. Actually, every gun channel I've ever seen on YouTube is actually extremely conscientious. It's pretty obvious that they all understand guns a lot more than you do. I'm also an attorney. Ta-da! I know how to make well-written rules. And so work with us. Work with the gun community. If we're going to have rules at all, which frankly I don't think you should have, I think this should be a free speech platform, but we're not going to agree on that. And if not, fine. But let's at least talk with the gun community so that you can at least understand what you're talking about when you're making these rules and not writing things that make it pretty patently obvious. I mean, everybody who watched this video, there were a couple places where you snickered or, it's just like, oh gosh, they just don't even understand really what they're forbidding here. I mean, ammunition clips, it's just so obvious that you didn't talk with anybody in the gun community. So let's fix it together. Talk to me, talk to many of the other people who have great gun channels on YouTube, and let's make a policy that will last, that we know what to expect, and that is clear.